What up, guys? I'm Kevin Uchiha, and today we're doing something vastly different. I usually don't do videos like this. I'm the type of guy that likes to record myself playing video games, and I was even planning on recording myself reacting to movies and TV shows. However, I did have a change of heart. And what is that change of heart that nobody asked for? Well, I'm glad you never asked or wondered. But somewhere in my line of work, I've delivered lots of food, packages, and alcohol to certain people who frankly never deserved my service in the first place. Especially when they were pissed drunk and had the audacity to order more alcohol while struggling to not fall down the stairs and attempt to fondle the doorknob in a sad attempt to open the door and accept their poison of choice. I, on the other hand, have never delivered something as controversial as this: a hot, steaming pile of douche tube douchery. The toddler that I'm about to present to you, and by toddler I do mean man-child, or soy boy beta cuck, and for the record, I don't have a problem with cucks, unless it involves this one in particular. Just because, he's probably the type of person to convince whatever brave woman he's dating into doing this act and then afterwards accuse her of cheating. But, tomato tomato, however you want to address this piece of cat dookie is fine with me. What I do insist on asking you is that you please do not harass or cyberstalk this person who helped expose this shrimp dick. It's a shitty thing to do, so please don't do it. So anyways, I went on Plink the other day to check out my feed, and I had the unfortunate misadventure of encountering this common misanthrope. I would rather run around Pallet Town and catch 10,000 Pidgeys than to encounter this piece of shit. We start off this wonderful and romantic introduction to what I can assume is a dick pic from a person called I Love Outgirls, and for those of you who want to save yourself a Google search, it's basically girls who don't adhere to normal mainstream shit, like any kind of mainstream media or any kind of mainstream fashions like American Eagle or Louis Vuitton or any of that common folk shit. Anyways, I don't know why men like this seem to think that sending a picture of your little Vienna sausage is a good idea on any app that involves DMing somebody, let alone Plink of all places. Like, Tinder matches don't even like shit like this, and this horny, sex-craved maniac thinks it's a good idea to send it on an app that's designed to match gamers to play video games together, and maybe socialize outside of it, like maybe Discord or whatever. But anyways, she responds with, "Download Tinder, buddy, this is pathetic," which is totally understandable and appropriate, to which she then replies, "Cry about it, you ugly dyke, and kill yourself." Wow. Real fucking mature. Which is so scary to think about because imagine if this was Tinder, and they had matched, and had actually gone on a date. Thank God he's a sociopathic red flag caveman that is driven by lust and manic episodes. Because there's no way he's even remotely close to getting a date, or even holding a conversation with the girl that lasts for more than 30 seconds without displaying fuckboy behavior. And why is that like the common response from children like this, that get rightfully rejected? Like, there's no way that this is a grown man. I'm convinced he's actually a 13-year-old Xbox Live gamer that was, like, cryogenically frozen from the 360 Modern Warfare era. He then responds with the soft gangster rap N-word, because we all know you're not an Xbox Live gamer unless you drop racial slurs on someone. He says, "You post with half your tits out and love attention and want to get..." Oh my god. I can't even say this word without getting demonetized in the future. He says the R word here, though, for those that are wondering. Like, what? What the fuck do you mean, man? First off, to her defense, and to my knowledge, she actually doesn't have any posts on Plink with half her tits out, so that's a bunch of bullshit. And even if she did, like, that's none of your fucking business. So what? She deserves to get fucking SA'd because she wants to show off her body? Like, that legitimately scares me into thinking that this asshole goes to parties to spike women's drinks. This guy is literally a walking red flag. What a fucking psycho. Anyways, she replies with, "Are you jealous I get attention and you're on here begging for women to message you back?" And she seems to score a fucking touchdown with this statement because he reverts back to like 13-year-old virgin statements like cry tranny and shit like that. Dude, what happened there? Did she hit a soft spot on your underdeveloped cranium? Because there is no easier way to confirm something from someone than to receive a response like this. Like the old childish, "No, you are," or "I know what you are, but what am I?" kind of response. Shit like that. What a fucking ignorant, creepy-ass child, seriously. She responds with, "You too, girly," and I don't know about you, but I laughed so hard at this response because at this point during the conversation, she starts to, like, treat him like a little kid because, deservingly so. He just keeps fucking responding with the same old child syndrome replies. Like, instead of having limb defects or skin abnormalities, this guy just seems to... Like, instead of having limb defects or skin abnormalities, This guy just seems to be missing a part of his fucking brain that allows for basic cognitive functions or critical thinking. Like, you dumb and stupid because I man and you woman. He then proceeds to shout out statements like, least I'm not ashamed of who I am, tranny. I'm guessing she destroyed the last bit of intelligence that this dude actually managed to muster, because he then finally says, you're never change who you are, you're gay-ass little F-word tiny dick boy. He's not ashamed of who he is. I totally believe that. Because the level of the lack of shame that this guy has is astonishing. Like, I've only seen shit like this on YouTube from, like, my favorite YouTubers, who also blast apart the worst cesspool degenerates that this world has to offer, but never have I ever encountered something like this through my own personal feeds. For me, I guess it was like seeing a unicorn snuggling up next to a dragon. I thought I'd never see it for myself, but boy have I been proven wrong. She then wraps up the convo by saying, boo-hoo, with the cry emoji, to which I laughed at again because I can just imagine him fuming and huffing and puffing in this dark little corner of a trashed room that he has. There's no way that this guy has a clean room if his mind is constantly engaged in war with itself. And if he thinks he's in the right for treating her like this, then he is for sure not only just an escaped lunatic from a loony bin, but indeed our very first documented DM weirdo. But just like Billy Mays and his enthusiastic approach to sales, I have a bonus offer for you, in the form of exposing and selling out weirdos to the internet, for free $99 no less. It's a bargain you can't refuse, because our bonus weirdo goes by the name of Jake the Mate 952. Ah, yes, of course. The 952nd abomination of a weirdo clone named Jake the Mate. More like Jake the Baked, because you gotta be high as fuck to start a conversation saying fuck your boyfriend. Bro, what? I think your snapback is too tightly snapped onto your child-sized head, because his brain-damaged cerebrum thinks that he's having an argument with someone, when in reality, he's just fighting with the fabrication of his own making. Like, I think he genuinely believes that he has the right person, or he might actually be the Alabama incestual uncle brother. He might actually be the Alabama incestual uncle brother of I Love Out Girls, because he comes at her pretty hard for no reason and says, like, now it's just a 1v1. What? I agree, dude. I completely agree that you are having a 1v1 with yourself. He then says something like, your boyfriend is probably fat as fuck, which is just baffling to me because, again, dude, nobody mentioned anything about having a boyfriend. So I think he's just like throwing jabs in the darkness of his own mind. Especially when he drops the N-word with the hard R. Like, this racist KKK enthusiast is having a battle with himself and he's actually fucking losing. Like, he's literally running into rakes repeatedly with how many L's he's taking here. And not only that, he then, for some weird reason, asks if she wants to see a picture of him. As if that's gonna make her change her mind and ignore and forgive all of the nasty shit he says here. He then proceeds to probably Google a picture of a random person online to make himself look more like an alpha indoctrinated fuckboy straight out of an Andrew Tate novel. Oh yeah, this is such a masculine pose, by the way. Look at how manly he's holding his phone up to pose for this picture. What a fucking meathead. And so now I just want to read a bit of the comments here, and we'll start with the first one that says, this app is not Tinder. I'm here to meet people to play games with. That's it. Stop being weird and horrible, please. And I fucking agree. People who join this app seem to think it's like Tinder for gamers. Like, it's really not a dating app, dude. I mean, you can meet up in real life and do what you want, but it's not directed towards romance or dating or any of that bullshit. So I agree, 100%. And as you can see here, he became possessed by the unholy, horny ghost as he attempted to ask another girl for her snap. The next person says, so sorry you had to put up with that. Some of the people on here literally have 0 brain cells. Which is fair, because I think it's all of the galaxy gas he must be blowing if he thinks that this is an appropriate way to approach and talk to women. OP then responds with a, I don't even want to imagine what kind of stuff he'd send you if you gave him your snap. Also very valid because this guy could be a flight risk to the entire country. I feel like this is the kind of guy that the court makes unbailable because of how much of a potential danger he poses to women, and probably other people in general. I wouldn't even spit on the same sidewalk that this guy walks on. Fucking piece of shit. And with this next comment section, it has a different title to the post that says, steer clear, ladies, with the laughing emoji, and I think it's directed towards I Love Out Girls, the guy who we just roasted and fricasseed earlier. Which is really sad that men are out here doing this shit daily to people, so I'm assuming this is an entirely different post about this creepy loser who harassed this person. After this, the girls start a marshmallow roast fest and start rightfully calling him out to be a loser and how his ego got hurt, as we had to unfortunately comb through earlier. Then I see a comment like this, by a guy who basically says that there's no point in engaging or exposing people like this because it causes drama, and then proceeds to tell her what to do. As if he was her father or some shit like that. Like, dude, what? I couldn't disagree more with that assessment. Like how are people supposed to know about and stop creeps if they're allowed to continue this sort of self-destructive and antagonizing behavior? When in reality, if more people know about these shit stains that are exposed, then they'd know to stay away from people like him. Like, people like us are literally making it a safer space for apps like this, even if it is by a slight margin. Like, not doing anything has the opposite effect, where now, like, you're encouraging them to do it more because they know that they can get away with it and that nobody can stop them. And of course, you may have your own opinions, but what we do actually has an impact instead of just not doing anything or not reporting, which, by the way, has no effect because I have been harassed by bots asking me to sign up to their OF content and sending me nudes I never asked for. So no, it does not make you just as bad as him. You're smoking fucking crack cocaine if you think you're somehow worse for exposing these scumbags. Unbelievable. He tries to convince people, unsuccessfully I might add, that publicly humiliating them is just as bad, and even doing so in private is also just as bad. Like, dude, for your sake and for the sake of other people, stop fucking smoking meth and sympathizing with people who think SA is warranted because of how you dress. You're just as much of a piece of shit as this guy if you truly believe that. And then the next commenter says that he gives off the vibes of someone who endorses and supports SA, which, to be fair, he kind of does. If this is the kind of rhetoric you're trying to preach here, you really do sound like that, bro. He then tries to say that he went from 0 to 100 with that kind of statement. Really? Seriously? Dude, the only thing that went from 0 to 100 is your deep-fried brain cells, if this is the full extent of your morality and judgment skills. You absolute fucking incel. The only thing that's a shame is the act of your mother birthing you into this world, because she shouldn't have done that if this is how you were going to turn out to be. Use your brain, dude. I know you might only have a quarter of a brain cell left from all the trank you did, but try to put yourself in her position for a second. You nugget brain-sized dickwad. How would you feel if you were harassed by men constantly as a woman, and not as a man who can defend himself physically, as a woman? Like, you can most likely fend off other men. Imagine the women who get cyber-stalked and then physically stalked in real life. God, people like this fucking irritate me. Because he makes it seem like it's not a big deal until it really becomes a big deal in the real world. What a fucking tool. Then, by some sort of fucking miracle, he finally has the insight of knowing that he's totally wrong in this situation, but refuses to admit it and then shamefully leaves like a person who got caught pickpocketing an old lady. What a fucking loser. I really hope he's not married, because I can't imagine the saint of a wife that this man has in his life, and how she has to deal with his ignorance. And then OP successfully destroys his reputation on Plink by saying that she's going to rightfully ignore his awful brain-dead advice and continue to humiliate asshats like this. I also agree with her assessment that he must have friends who are like him, because if he has any at all to begin with, I really feel bad for them. For the sake of all that is good and holy, I hope he doesn't, especially if he fails to see the fallacy in his own statements. Like, does he think it's okay for people to harass his wife? Hell fucking no. I bet he wouldn't stand for that shit, right? So why the fuck are you saying shit like this? That totally contradicts it. That's why I believe this guy is not only not married, but also has no friends like the pitiful loser that he is. OP is absolutely right about this. She then proceeds to obliterate any trace of his respect that no one had for him to start with, by saying that this is what lack of pussy does to a man. Just pretty much incinerating any remaining traces of this piece of shit. And then the next comments and commenters consist of them saying how much of a walking contradiction I Love Alt Girls must be, because even if she did have a penis, which there would obviously be nothing wrong with, then why are you interested in her by sending pics of your little shrimpy? And then when you get rejected, you go all Call of Duty lobby on her by calling her all sorts of racial and sexist slurs. Some men really are despicable and are beyond psychological help, which is unfortunate for other people that have to deal with them because they refuse to accept and get help, because they have this, like, ridiculous alpha male mentality where they think they're weak for working on their mental health issues. It's fucking pathetic, really. And sadly, this is the end of it, I guess. I'd love to sit here and trash fuckwads like this, but this is pretty much all of the content from those two encounters, and it's really sad that women nowadays have to deal with creepy 50-year-old, bald-headed, Cheeto finger-licking porn-brained weirdos on the internet that are posing to be false people by saying things that they would never say to someone's face. It's really pathetic and sad, and I don't feel bad for them. So you shouldn't either. You really shouldn't. But like I said before, please don't go harassing the brave people choosing to entertain such madness, Thanks for watching this, and I hope you had as much fun enjoying this as I had as much fun writing and recording it. This is Kevin Uchiha, signing off. Peace out.